Known for stalking the jungles of Armageddon, Boss Snickrot makes light but bloody work of his victims on this hive world. Even the most grizzled orc hunter veteran should be wary of this ghostly killer. And in this video we'll be painting the boss himself so he's ready for some quiet crumping. First we'll undercoat the model. Oh, where's he gone? Oh, there he is. Now you can see he's in Wraithbone. This is the perfect base colour for some of the contrast paints we'll be using in this video. It's also a great idea to have Wraithbone base paint to hand to tidy up any mistakes we make along the way. We've also put the smoke grenade on a sub-assembly pin as we want to paint all sides of it before we stick it on the base. The paints we've used are on the screen right now. The first section of this guide will show you how to get the boss fully painted, and you can stop right there if you like. However, if you like to take the paint job up a notch, the second part of the guide will show you just how to do that. If you are new to painting or want to know the paints and techniques used in this video, check out our Citadel Colour Painting Essentials videos. You can find the link in the description below. We'll start with the skin, and first we'll use Gut Ripper Flesh for this. We're going to take a fair amount on our small base brush here and apply it all over that skin. We do want to be careful and take our time, just as we don't want to get any small air bubbles in the paint, as this can affect the finish of the contrast. Don't worry too much about getting on other areas at this point, as we can tidy up before our next stage. With that Gut Ripper Flesh now dry, we can apply Celia Green shade over the skin. This will give the skin just that slightly mossy undertone that orc skin has. For this, we'll slightly thin it down with a drop of water. So 2 parts Celia Green shade to 1 part water will do you fine. When applying it, we want to make sure that the stronger colour is in those recesses, but do be mindful of adding too much to the model. If you do, don't worry, you can always soak it away with a dry brush. Now that the skin is finished, we can move on to Corvus Black for the trousers and backpack. We'll be needing a couple of layers to build up a solid dark colour over the light undercoat. So just keep those layers thin and give each one plenty of time to dry. Just try to be careful when painting around any areas of the skin, as we want to avoid having to fix any mistakes. But they do happen, and you can follow the past couple of steps if you need to. Next, we'll apply Dark Reaper to the boots and the straps on his backpack and scabbard. As this is a layer paint, we might need 2 to 3 coats to get a solid coverage, but do take your time so it doesn't become lumpy or bumpy. Dark Reaper is a shadowy blue-grey paint, so it's perfect for some sneaky gits to get up to no good. After that paint is dry, we'll add some skeleton horde to any skulls, bones, and of course the most prized possession of any orc, their teeth. As these are smaller details, we'll use our small layer brush, especially for when we get into his mouth. Just use a smaller amount of paint for those teeth, and a little bit of contrast over the gums can tie the tongue down with all the rest of the details. Don't worry too much about getting the paint onto the ropes near those skulls, as we'll be painting those over with our next colour. The next colour we'll be using is Mournfang Brown, and we'll be using this for his belt, weapon wrappings and the scabbard itself. As we have a few colours already painted onto the model, we'll just take our time when using this paint. For those really small details, just use the smallest brush you have. We're using our small layer brush here for this. Mournfang Brown is a great leathery brown colour for these details, but you could use Rhinox Hide if you want a rich and darker brown. Iron Hand Steel is up next for all those poor victims' dog tags, his blades called Mork's teeth, and his goggles and the metal details on his backpack. These could be any buckles, stick bombs, or that massive grappling hook that he sneakily uses. If you aren't quite sure what to paint on this model for this colour, you can always check the box art out for any ideas of how you can use this for your model. Next, we'll use Runelord Brass for some of the other metallic details, such as the boot spikes, his belt buckle, and any bullet casings found on the backpack. You can also use this for the blade hilt in the scabbard, just to break up all that silver metal from the rest of the model, so it's just a little bit more balanced. After we're done with Runelord Brass, we need to change our paint water, as we don't want any metallic flakes into the rest of our colours. Now let's add some Mephiston red to those grenades and the goggle lenses. If you're painting Snickrot with his goggles up or off completely, you can use this colour for his eyes as well. We're almost done, so we'll use a small layer brush just to be super careful, as we don't want to make a slip up here. But if you do get some on the metal goggles, you can always tidy up with the Iron Hand steel. And last but not least, we'll apply Nuln Oil to the majority of the model. We'll use this straight out of the pot for any Iron Hand steel, Mournfang brown, Mephiston red, Corvus black and any Dark Reaper details. Just be careful going near that skin, as we don't want to get any on at all, but a clean brush can mop any of that up if it goes on while wet. Then we'll use 1 part Nuln Oil and 1 part water for the smoke grenade on the sub-assembly. And there we are, Boss Snickrot is finished. He's looking dead sneaky already. Or if you want to give him a bit more detail, we can add these few extra steps. We'll add some life to the skin with Bugman's Glow. We'll paint the tongue and the ear trophies around his neck fully. Then we'll pick out the bottom lip, the gums and the tips of his ears with a smaller amount of the paint, just so it tints the skin rather than fully covering it. If you feel there is too much of a pinky tone to those areas, you can always take a small amount of Gut Ripper flesh and pop it over the end, making a softer blend. Bugman's Glow might seem like a weird colour to add to the green skin, but it adds just a small amount of warmth to it, making Orc's skin look more alive. Next we'll be highlighting the Corvus Black and Dark Reaper with Rust Grey. When highlighting, we want to keep a good point to the brush. We could do this by rolling the brush onto our palette. This is also a good idea if you have too much paint on your brush, and you can always control how much you apply to the model. Rust Grey gives us a great colour that can tie both the black and the dark blue together, for those sharper edges while keeping Snickrot dead sneaky. And for our last finishing touch, we'll add a highlight over the silver and the brass details with Stormhost Silver. When making the scratches, just use the tip of the brush and drag it from the centre to the edge of the blade. This will make it look more natural. As Stormhost Silver is a super light silver, it's perfect for the top highlight for most metallic colours, giving a worn look to your model. The Boss Snickrot is complete and ready for a good scrap with some puny humans. You can see we stuck the grenade down to the base, then based it in Sterling mud, but you can base it however you like. If you'd like to learn more about basing, you can check out our technical paints video all about it. For more tutorials, tips and techniques, head to citadelcolour.com, or you can also head into a store where our friendly staff can help you out. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video and we'll see you next time. Bye bye!